All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your patience on this warm evening. At this time, I entertain a motion to convene in open session.
So moved.
It's been properly moved in second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye. Wait, who was the motion? I did. Okay.
All those opposed, same right. Any abstentions?
Who seconded? John.
Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carlson.
Here.
Ms. Dowling.
Here.
Ms. Phelak.
Here.
Ms. Franco-Herman.
Present?
Ms. Harris.
Here.
Ms. Walenka Jernigan.
Here.
Ms. Spina. Mr. Todd.
Here.
And Ms. Nargood.
We have a quorum. Please rise for the salute to the flag. Michelle. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'll have the superintendent report and presentations. Superintendent Black.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have a presentation by Dr. Young on NJGPA test results.
There we go. No problem. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Stacy Young, Director of Equity, Data, and Accountability. And I'm here tonight to share out on the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, or NJGPA, results from this past spring, 2024. Please allow me to remind everybody what the NJGPA is. This is a state-mandated assessment. It is a requirement for our 11th grade students to take it. It's designed to measure the extent to which our students are graduation ready on both English language arts and math. The ELA component is aligned to the grade 10 New Jersey Student Learning Standards, and the math component is aligned to Algebra 1 and Geometry. All of our 11th grade students took the NJGPA this past March. The DOE keeps it really simple with the GPA performance levels. Our students are either not yet graduation ready or they are graduation ready. The proficiency score for both the ELA and the math assessment is a 725, that's the cut score. So that's the goal for our students. That's the first pathway to meeting that graduation requirement. If the student doesn't meet the proficiency requirement, they have the opportunity to retake the assessment in the fall of their senior year. If they still don't meet that 725 on the ELA and or the math, they do have a second pathway, and that's to substitute in one of the other competency tests that the NJDOE says is okay to substitute, such as an SAT or an ACT score. If the student still doesn't meet the PET score with that second pathway, then there is a third option, and that's the portfolio appeal. Just as a reminder, before we take a look at some of this data, the DOE does have laws that protect student confidentiality. Essentially what they say is that when we're reporting assessment data publicly, they maintain 10 as the minimum n size for sharing any data. So if there's anything that you see that's suppressed, that's because we didn't meet the minimum n size. So jumping right into it, you can see our ELA results. We're right there in the gold. So you can see that 98% of our students met that cut score graduation ready, leaving just 2% at not yet. And the green is just the state as comparison. Math, 94% of our students are graduation ready, leaving approximately 6% at not yet. Taking a look at a 3-year comparison, the NJGPA was brand new in 2022, so you can see there in the black is 2022, in the gold is 23, and in the green is our current year, 2024. So you can see some really nice growth going on for both ELA and math. ELA is on the left, math is on my right. So you can see for ELA, in 2022, we were at 72 or 73% graduation ready, and we're up to 98 this year. And for math, we were at about 90% graduation ready in 22, and you can see in 24, we're at 94, so we're seeing some nice growth for both ELA and math. Getting into the demographic data. You can see our ELA results here broken up by gender, and for ELA, our female students met with 100%. With our male students, they came in at 96% graduation. For math, you can see our female students came in at about 95% grad ready, and our male students at 93% grad ready. Taking a look at the 3-year comparison again, this is for our female students, ELA, again on the left, math on the right. You can see we're still seeing great growth from year to year. I won't read every number to you, but the goal is to move up. And we can see that here for both ELA and math. Same can be said for our male students. Tremendous growth in ELA, starting at 63 or 64% in 2022, up to 96 this year. And some pretty great growth in math as well, 88 or 89 to about 93. Taking a look at the subgroup race, this is English language arts that you're looking at, and the categories that the DOE identifies on the bottom, we have Hispanic, Asian, white, and black going across the bottom. You can see our Hispanic students are coming in at 92% grad ready in ELA, our Asian students at 99, nearly 100% grad ready, our white students at about 97% grad ready, and our black students at 89% grad ready ELA. Same data for math, same subgroups on the bottom. Our Hispanic students coming in at 92% grad ready, Asian at about 99, nearly 100% grad ready in math, white students at 90%, and our black students at about 61. We have a 3-year trajectory for Hispanic students here. Again, seeing really fantastic growth from 22 to 24 in both ELA and math. Taking a look at our Asian population here, similar trajectory, 22 to 24, we can see some steady growth there, from 90 in ELA to nearly 100 this year, 99 in math, and steady at 99, nearly 100 this year. Our white students seeing some significant growth as well, started at 53% in ELA and 97% in 2024. 82 in math, nearly 90 this year. Taking a look at subgroup program, this is ELA for our students with disabilities. You can see 87% are coming in grad ready in ELA, and about 60% in math for our students with disabilities. And again, that 3-year trajectory is really helpful, 22, 23, and 24. And you can see here that we are trending in the right direction. Certainly some significant gains in ELA. We started at 14.3% grad ready in 22, and in those 3 years, we're now at 87% grad ready. In math, seeing some growth as well, 39% in 22, and we're now at nearly 61% in 24. That's it for the data for the NJGPA. Moving into just some notable achievements and some interventions. Our students outperform the state as we hope they do and expect that they do in both ELA and math. Over 90% of our students demonstrated graduation readiness as juniors in both ELA and math. And as you saw through a number of the slides throughout this presentation, we are seeing steady growth for all of our subgroups in the 3 years that we have had the NJGPA, which is fantastic. A couple of reminders about interventions, because of course there's always more work to be done. Data is a regular part of our day-to-day here in the district. Our teachers, our counselors, our CST, which is our child class study team, our administrators, are constantly, regularly monitoring, analyzing, and discussing data in our day-to-day. We use a number of different data points to determine the efficacy of our curriculum, of our instructional practices, and to understand whether or not our interventions are doing what we hope that they're doing. And then our content area supervisors, who are fantastic here in the district, are really at the ground level working closely with teachers to figure out what standards, skills, or concepts are being missed, and how we can adjust our curriculum and our instruction to address those. I do want to take a moment to just remind everyone briefly that in New Jersey we use MTSS, that's a multi-tiered system of supports, and that's a series of interventions that we have in place for our students. So for example, Tier 1 is that first level of intervention, those are universal supports that are for all students. That's an intervention that we can provide any student without needing anything extra. So if we can see that a student would benefit from the use of a graphic organizer, for example, that's something that a teacher can simply provide. If the student is not meeting with success, with the addition of any of these Tier 1 interventions, that's when we move into Tier 2, which is more targeted classroom support. That could be something like small group instruction, pull out, pull in. And if we find that with that next level of support, the student is still not meeting with success in whatever area, then that's when we move into Tier 3, which is that referral and evaluation step. As a reminder, we just completed our second year of using STAR 360 as an intervention. That's an ELA and math assessment platform that's tied directly to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards and is used to predict how our students will score on the NJSLA. We administer that in the fall, winter, and spring of each year, and that helps us to identify students who might need those additional supports. And specific to the high school, because this is an NJGPA presentation, just want to remind everybody that at the high school we have a math and literacy lab that's available to students who have been identified as needing that extra support. In addition to our supervisors who run a number of math and ELA clinics throughout the year to provide that extra boost for students who demonstrate the need for that boost. And that's in addition to the regular things at the high school, such as study hall, after school help, etc. Moving forward, the next administration of the NJGPA will be in March 2025. At this time, I'm happy to take any questions from the board.
So this was only the third year for this test. We didn't have anything before that, and I think it shows us climbing out of the COVID pit.
I think you're exactly right. Yes, this is only our third year of this test, and we're really glad to see that incline happening because certainly the pandemic had a significant impact, whether or not we want to admit that it did, and I think that we can definitely see ourselves digging our way out of that.
So the really important things will be sort of the next couple of years where we expect it to plateau.
You got it.
Thanks. Thank you.
I have a question. So even though it's a small population of students that is not graduation ready, but we still have those students. What is the plan of action to help them step up and reach that level of expectation and readiness?
By all means.
Thank you for your excellent question. Hello, Heather Pino, BD Principal. First, I would just like to note where you saw 100%, that is not, nobody achieves that. But please don't expect it 100% next year. We're shooting for it, but I just need to know that. So what we do, and this is part of the beauty of the data that we get. So state testing data is always lagging data, which means that we get it when our students have already left our classrooms. We have the opportunity with this data to then target those students because they haven't left our school yet. So they take the test and then we still have them as students and we prepare them. We actually retest them and our goal is to get 100% of them to pass and hit those graduation markers the following fall or spring. So the minute we actually have started targeting many of these students before they get to NJGPA. So we see where they're, through our assessments, through other data, through NJSLA, we take all of our data points and we see where kids have weaknesses that we have to start to target and augment specific instruction for. So we work on that, and then when we get this data back, we get it now in enough time that didn't used to be like this with the state, where we can then say, all right, we have this, and it is a very small group of students when you look at the physical number, what are we going to do to ensure that they are indeed ready to meet those standards leaving? So our goal is to have them pass the test, but more importantly, our goal is to make sure that they have the skills. So we have targeted courses that the students will sit through. We have targeted remediation where we work one-on-one with kids when they need it. And it really comes down to the skills of our teachers because they're able to take that granular data, look at the specific standards and say, this is exactly what you need and I'm gonna get you there. So there's a lot of beauty to it, and there's a lot of beauty to being in a district where when you have so few students, you can really target all of your efforts in making sure that they become proficient.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
May I just ask, this is a very different type of testing for students, so do we do any sort of additional type of not teaching to the test, but teaching them how to take this kind of a test that's different than assessments that they take throughout the school year?
So the answer is yes and no. So when we're preparing our kids, we're looking at the way they need to be able to perform on any assessment. And while this is a different type of assessment, it's not wholly different from everything that they do. So when we look at, we're preparing our kids for post-secondary success, which is not always college success, but we aim at the highest level for all of our kids. So all of our kids are going to take the SAT, the ACT, they're going to continue to sit for different assessments. We assess our kids in a wide variety of manners. So some that, I'm not going to say we do anything that looks specifically like the test where you're sitting there answering multiple choice questions. That's really one of the lowest ways you can show proficiency. But we do make sure that we infuse those opportunities so that way our kids have encountered these things before. The first time they're, attempting a test question of this structure should not be when they're sitting for a high stakes test. So we make sure that we infuse that, and that infusion starts. I have a son who just finished kindergarten. He has answered questions that are formalized at an age-appropriate level the same way he will answer questions when he gets to high school. The important thing is that it's broad and varied how we assess our kids, so that way no matter how the information comes to them, they're prepared to answer it, not just if it should come in the form of a multiple choice or a long answer.
Just one more question. The skills lab courses as well as the after-school clinics that were mentioned as some of the areas that students can improve their scores, are those mandatory for students, or are you relying on students to kind of feel accountable and attend those?
We have a lot of ways to say mandatory without mandatory. So you can opt out, but really when we sit down and explain to a kid, and at this point, when they're 17 years old, we speak to the kids first. We obviously speak to the parents as well because they're part of this. But when we explain why they need to sit for this, and that's also why we offer it in varied ways so that we make sure it's accessible. If I have a student that needs to go to an after-school job or a sport, I don't want them to not have the opportunity to build that skill. So that's when oftentimes our educators become very selfless and find the time within their day to carve out to offer that same skill set. But we make sure every kid gets it in one way or another. Every once in a while, we have a kid that's like, I absolutely not, I refuse. And then we still find a way to do it. We'll get them within their course and find a way to target instruction in a way that maybe they don't realize what we're doing. Sorry, Steve.
No, that's great. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move to committee representative reports, starting with MTEA.
Good evening, everyone. Mike Rizzoli, MTEA president. Hope everyone's having a good summer. The MTEA was over at Montgomery Save, helping out our four-legged friends. We gave donations of food, beds, and toys. A lot of animals that need a home, so if anyone's out there looking, they got a whole bunch of things from pups to senior animals over there, so make a stop over there. Montgomery Summer Reads is going on. We distributed 550 books to 80 different students that just needed books for the summer, so we dropped those off for them. And then the MTA was able to send 4 delegates down to the national convention this year. We were able to link up with SEA, our county affiliate, NJEA, our state affiliate, and NEA, our national affiliate. The delegates were able to go on down and deliberate different topics throughout the nation and talk, so it was nice for us to be able to sit on the floor and hear different things going on. The 4 representatives got to meet so many different people around the country, different teachers, so it's great to hear different perspectives. So nothing's too crazy, but that's about it for the MTEA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzoli. Are there any board member, delegate, and representative reports this evening? Hearing none, we'll move into board committee reports. We'll skip ACI for now. Thank you, Michelle. And we will move to Operations, Facilities, and Finance Committee.
So Operations, Facilities, and Finance Committee met on Friday, July 12th. Our meeting was dedicated to assessment of the maintenance and capital improvement projects that are being planned to keep our district beautiful and in good working condition. During the summer months, the district scheduled several maintenance and repair projects, such as repair of the sewer line at UMS, repair of the bathrooms, stalls that have been vandalized at high school, replacement of the boiler pump at Village, cabinet replacement at UMS Art Room, pothole repairs, seat repairs at High School Impact. We talked about an issue raised by the UMS parents on behalf of their daughters about lack of privacy in the girls' locker room at UMS. 7th and 8th grade is an emotional period for girls' development. Their bodies are changing, and they welcome privacy when they change in the locker rooms. The current locker room setup does not offer any privacy, and girls feel uncomfortable changing for phys ed. The administration will evaluate different options to mitigate this concern and create more private changing space. The committee discussed the cost of the removal of the decommissioned trailer used for the maintenance departments, as well as the cost of the necessary repairs of the transportation department trailer. The transportation department trailer needs to have gutters installed to prevent further water damage to the siding, doors, as well as the floor. The football field turf replacement project is underway. The old turf has been removed, and the work to install the new turf is progressing as scheduled. The pickleball courts have been renovated. Thanks to our mayor and the township committee for partnering with our district to renovate these courts. The ribbon cutting ceremony took place yesterday, and the courts are available for our community to enjoy. The district will begin working on a few major capital improvement projects, such as upgrades of the HVAC units at LMS, replacement of the rooftop units at high school, roof replacement at UMS, and chiller replacement at UMS. The funding for these projects will come from the district capital reserves and the ROD grants. The ROD grants will cover 40% of the total cost of the projects. The cost of each project and the ROD grants are on the today's agenda for approval, if anybody is interested to see how much it costs. Next month, the committee will continue discussions about future capital improvement projects and the funding sources available to the districts.
Thank you, Ms. Vilak. Questions from board members? Hearing none, we'll move on to Assessment, Curriculum, and Instruction Committee. Ms. Dowling.
Thank you. We met on June 14th, both virtually and in person. We talked through a couple of textbook recommendations, particularly for the English classes and honors English classes for 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. Of note, and important to emphasize, is that all of the teacher textbook recommendations are not to replace books. They are in addition to the curriculum. The only replacement taking place is the Joy Luck Club is going to be replaced by Crying in H. Mart, which I actually read personally, and I very much recommend it. All of the other books are additions to the curriculum. We also talked about the DEI walkthroughs. It was clear that the walkthroughs were brief and we're sort of at the very beginning stages of this initiative. The idea was to have a 10 to 15 minute walkthrough to begin observations, and the next steps are for supervisors to debrief what they've observed and to determine how to share some areas of strength and areas to improve upon. Performance in terms of the new tools that address reading and writing. We are responsible to all of our students by using the new standards and adapting to what the students may need to further help them outside of that scope. Kindergarten in particular has done really, really well this year. And when a teacher identifies a child that is lacking in some skill area, they then go into that multi-tier academic support. And the addition of this will hopefully help us fill some of the gaps that we've seen caused by the pandemic. Mental Health Awareness Month we talked quite a bit about. The sharing out of K-4 initiatives that include days of play, get out of their routine and have some fun. In the 5th through 8th grade buildings, the emphasis on self-care, and the 9th through 12th grade building, daily activities and messages led by students and student groups. There was also a presentation called Screens and Stress. It was an event held for the community. 150 parents attended. and the presentation was made by the Municipal Alliance and MTSD staff. The Wellness Fair is available for staff this month, and they will have offerings throughout the year for the staff as well. Any questions or comments? I did get a question from you, Joanne, and I will bring it up at the next ACI. Thank you. Via email.
I was going to say that, but like I remember your email that you need a little bit more time, so that's fine.
Yeah, we haven't met since I got your email, so I will bring it up at the next ACI and report back. Of course.
All right, moving on. Any reports from Policy and Communications Committee?
No, we are as needed for July and August.
And Human Resources Committee did not meet since the June 11th. At this time, I entertain a motion for the approval of minutes for June 11th, 2024 executive session, June 11th, 2024 workshop and business meeting, June 25th, 2024 executive session meeting, and June 25th, 2024 business meeting.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same right. Abstentions? Motion carried. This time, the board acknowledges the correspondence to the board. At this time, I will entertain a motion to reconvene an executive session to discuss personnel and HIB with the intent of being in executive session no longer than 30 minutes.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second to move to reconvene to executive session. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All those opposed, same right. Abstentions? Thank you. As I stated, our intention is to be no longer than 30 minutes. Thank you for your patience. We'll get started. Thank you all for your patience. At this time, I entertain a motion to reconvene in open session.
So moved.
Second. The proper movement second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same right. Abstentions? Motion carries. Action agenda items, public comment. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted one opportunity to address the board regarding action agenda items only for up to maximum 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address and enter both on the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for the public to share their thoughts with the board. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session. Public comments on action agenda items only is now open. Going twice. Public comments on action agenda items are now closed. At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept action agenda items 1.0 through 4.3, and I will read. And I will read 4.2 and 4.3. 4.2 is be it resolved that the Montgomery Township Board of Education remands the appeal of HIB incident 266-994-0529-2024. And 4.3, be it resolved that the Montgomery Township Board of Education denies the appeal of HIB incident 267-508-LMS-06072-024.
So what you would do is your board members can vote on this except to abstain from their own reimbursement. It's a general statement. So with regard to resolution 3.3, board members have to abstain, have to recuse themselves on their own travel reimbursement requests. So you can vote affirmatively if you choose on that resolution with indicate that you are recusing yourself for the reimbursement with regard to yourself. 3.3, correct?
3.3.
At this time, is there a motion to accept agenda items 1.0 through 4.3? Been properly moved in second. All those in favor state, roll call
Please second, I'm sorry.
please. Any discussion on any of the agenda items? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Carlson.
4.3, no. Everything else, yes. 4.3.
Abstain
Or you just asking about 3.3.
You have to abstain from 3.3.
I'm not sure.
You have to abstain from 3.
I'm not sure.
Sorry, Mark.
Ms. Dowling? Yes. Sorry. And abstain from 3.3.
I do not have travel reimbursements.
You are on there for the NJSBA workshop.
I'm sorry, I do. I recuse myself. I'm sorry, I forgot about that one.
Ms. Fila?
I abstain from 3.3C and yes on the rest.
Ms. Franco Herman?
So, yes, and I'm not traveling to the person.
Okay. Ms. Harris?
Yes, and I'm also not traveling.
Ms. Valenka Jernigan?
Yes, I abstain from 3.3 due to charges for travel for a Board of Education session. Thank you, Marcia.
And Mr. Todd?
Yes, abstain, except for abstain for 3.3 due to travel in Jersey School Board's workshop.
The action and agenda items pass.
Apologies, I need to amend what I said. I should not be listed. I did reach out to Mr. Bill saying that I was not going to attend that workshop, so I don't know why I'm listed on the reimbursements.
Just remember.
Sorry about that, yeah. I did reach out to her.
So the resolution will be corrected.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Agenda items passed. New business from public. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public. Members of the public are allotted one opportunity to bring any new business to the board for up to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. All comments must be directed to the board. Before you make your comment, please state your full name and address and enter both on the Chromebook provided. Being mindful of privacy rights regarding students, board employees, and board members, and to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages defamatory and discourteous remarks. The public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions. The board may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command, usually starting at the school level. Responses may be provided at the end of this session. New business public comments are now open. Yes, put your name and address.
My name is Steve Hunt. I'm a Bellmead resident at 44 Rosewood Court. I'm here today to talk about the issue of public access to the high school tennis courts. In my mind, the high school tennis courts have always been available for public access after school hours. But since around July 8th, the courts are locked. After communicating with the athletic director and the principal, I was told the school district doesn't have a joint use agreement with the township on these courts. So the high school can deny public access to these courts anytime and indefinitely. Between the middle school and the high school, Montgomery has 16 tennis courts. This summer, 2 of the tennis courts were converted to pickleball courts. And after the lockup of the high school tennis courts, there are 6 high school tennis courts, the courts that are available to the public for the public access is dropped by 50% to only 8 courts. This puts a severe strain on the tennis community of the Montgomery Township. According to school districts 2023 and 2022 strategic planning, Goal 2, Objective 4, the school district expressed a desire to open up more school facilities after hours to engage community and students. This act of locking up the high school tennis courts seemed to run contrary to this goal. I would like to know the current district policy on these high school courts. Is the public permanently denied access for this course from this point on? If this is not the case, there should be some communication about when the courts will be available to the public again. I understand the course needs repair and maintenance from time to time, and the school activities take priority.
15 seconds.
And I also think the best solution to this problem is to have a joint use agreement between the school district and the township. That would remove any ambiguity from the issue. Thank you, that's all. Any questions or? Any questions?
No, it's public comment. You just make your comments and send it.
Sorry, thank you.
I'm Dmitry Pozniak. Oh, I did sign up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, thank you. Dmitry Pozniak, Montgomery, here for the same reason. Appreciate an opportunity to talk to you. So as you can see, I don't have a lot of experience with this. So earlier this year, the Township Board published its very own vision for the 5-year strategic plan to Montgomery Township, the very plan that Stephen just mentioned, where community engagement is considered as one of the board's strategic goals. And one of the board's objectives in this plan is to explore using school buildings for non-school use activities after hours to engage community and students. The recent decision by the Montgomery High School leadership seems to diverge from this objective. And for the Montgomery residents, it will be very hard for me personally to interpret, not to interpret rather, the board's strategic plan as mere rhetoric without tangible actions from the stakeholders. And the residents, furthermore, may also rightfully question the allocation of public funds towards a vision that isn't upheld by the corresponding measures. The strategic plan also outlines the need for developing specific activities and success indicators for each objective. And we're concerned that the closure of the Montgomery High School courts, an action that one can consider a success indicator, even though with a negative connotation, could hinder the board's progress towards achieving the community engagement goals. With the courts now closed, there's an opportunity for the board to demonstrate its commitment to community engagement by reconsidering this decision and reopening the courts as a significant milestone. On a more personal note, I fear that this decision by the Montgomery High School leadership will put an additional strain on the community, and particularly on three groups of people. First, the most vulnerable population who are not in a position to afford renting tennis courts, which, as you know, are expensive. It will also hinder the development of Montgomery children who may not be able to afford, or whose parents may not be able to afford enrolling them in a paid tennis program. Furthermore, the courts at the Montgomery High School were the most accessible courts in the area. They were close to the driveway, they were particularly convenient for the older people and people with disabilities, just because they don't have to walk. And secondly, because these courts were more shaded and protected from the elements because of the net, they were particularly convenient for the young kids who don't generate enough power, and for who protection from the elements is particularly important. So I would ask the board to kindly intervene and consider reopening the courts for public use. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, my name's Xizhen Xu. I'm a resident of Belmi. Dear board members, tonight I'm here to support the other two community members' concern about how to and when to reopen the high school tennis court to the community. Because if you go to Montgomery Township website right now, they have a healthy survey request for all the residents to fill out, asking the residents how can you fill the township to make you guys healthier if you have any request. So my thinking is go out and play sports is the best way to help the whole community, especially the children, stay healthy and be active and get rid of the electronics we all concerning about. Unfortunately, right now we have 6 beautiful tennis courts located in the Montgomery High School was locked down for no reason. I don't see any reason why we do that, or to protect the quality of the court. It doesn't make sense because even we don't use it, they still run down because of the weather, right? We can't have the cover on the high school tennis court. So my request to the board member is to reopen the tennis court to the public access, to let all the children and the community members to play during the precious summertime, especially in the Northeast in New Jersey. We all know the 3 months is precious. We don't want to waste any time, any the weather, beautiful weather outdoor, to encourage children to become the holistic, developer. That's the school district goal. We don't want the children just stuck in the computer, play video games, or just want to. I think the superintendent and even the supervisor mentioned many times we want to develop a student holistically, not only on academic but on everything else. So I think the sports is very important, especially for this community. We all know the tennis is a great sport. Yeah, if we just do some simple thing, let's say open the court, we solve all the issues. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Hello, good evening. my name is Aisha, I'm a Montgomery resident. I've met you maybe 2 months ago. I'm here also to support the previous speakers on the topic of the availability of the high school tennis courts. I fully support all of the other comments that the previous community members have made, and would also like to reiterate, what I think is the community benefit to having those tennis courts available. I have 2 boys in Montgomery, one in the school district, one who will be entering the school district. That is his opportunity as he plays tennis, has been playing tennis, to engage with members of the community on school grounds, in places where he can become familiar with the community, meet other people, and eventually reintegrate back into the Montgomery schools. I also, there's also the impact of the pandemic on our children. As you all know, the isolation and being outdoors, especially in the summertime, with the tennis courts, that is their opportunity for physical fitness, community engagement, activity that's not screen time, that's not iPad, that's not being closed up indoors and isolated. I would also like to state, as some of the other community members made, reiterate the point of the crowding. I know that 2 of the tennis courts were converted to pickleball courts. That, combined with the closure of the tennis courts, has created limited availability. The parking lot has become extremely crowded. I know that there's another one. To walk from that parking lot, you're walking through grass. I don't like my kids doing that. And it's dangerous to have so many cars there as well, crowded in that one space. You see cars lining up on the side and not in the marked parking spaces. So I do see an opportunity, if we do reopen those high school tennis courts, for less crowding and a safer opportunity for our children. Again, last, I understand that it was taxpayer funded, the courts, and I do believe for that reason that those courts should be available for the public for usage. That is all. Thank you.
Put my name in already. I'm Alex Wolfson. I live at 71 Colfax Road in Skillman. My wife Natasha and I were at the school board meeting here on April 30th, where we presented the local petition that's been circulating regarding starting our high school times later. We now have almost 1,000 signatures. I think we're up to 997 signatures. At this point, aside from the signatures, we've received numerous comments of support for this initiative from other community members, including current and past students. My wife started this petition to raise awareness of the issue of sleep health in our high school students and to assess community interest in this initiative to start our high school at a later time. This has been received in a positive way by our community, but not necessarily by the school board. I do think that if you're unsure of your answer as to whether or not there's actually indisputable scientific evidence for doing this, there's the printout that's been left by me on your desks. That wasn't made by me. That's coming from the state. And I think it would be extremely helpful to have Dr. Bert Mandelbaum, our district physician, actually present the research to you guys. The last time he spoke was over 5 years ago. 5 years ago in the scientific world is like millennia. There's been more and more data supporting this. It's indisputable. Not only is Dr. Mandelbaum not our district physician, he's also a highly regarded pediatrician in Montgomery, and he's involved in the state task force devoted to adolescent sleep health. He's available to present all this data to you guys at any time you're ready to receive him. In addition, a community presentation with Dr. Mandelbaum, I would strongly encourage you to talk with other board members from other school districts who have made this change. They've done it successfully, losing my train of thought here, sorry. And more districts are starting this in September. I don't understand why we choose to ignore this topic. At the very least, this should be looked at. You should form a committee to look at it. I understand that Mary McLaughlin is not interested in doing this. I understand that. But at any rate, the board should form a committee to look into it, see how it could be done, and see if there's benefit to it. Thank you very much.
Are there any other comments from the public? Hearing none, public comments for new business is now closed. Mayor, are there any items that you wish to address?
The board will take the issue regarding the Montgomery High School tennis courts into
consideration, as well as the research on later school start times. And I actually am an advocate for it. We just have to discuss it more as a board and through this strategic plan. Thank you.
Are there any items from school board members to be discussed?
So I was wondering, why did we lock the tennis courts? Did we start locking them? Why?
There was vandalism. We have a shared agreement with the township for the courts at UMS, where people have to go online and reserve them, and I think it's a $10 fee I was informed of. And when the public is there, it's covered under the liability of the township, not the school district.
Is that something that it might be worth adding to the OFF to talk about?
Yes, that should go to OFF.
Any other items from the board? Hearing none, at this time, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and second.
Second.
Any discussions on the motion? All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Essentially saying right. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your patience.